Tell him I got the juice.
Let's check this out, and then we'll dip up out of here.
What does the average woman bring to the table in 2023?
Well, so I
Can
don't
I say something?
Exactly.
So can I
Wait, no, wait. I want to give
She's
it
gonna go, then you can go.
a good actual answer. I mean, there are many things. You have to sort of be mentally aligned because you want to have like good communication. You want to be able to talk about stuff, experiences, and things.
Are women good communicators?
Some are.
Is the average woman a good communicator?
Some are.
No, I said is the average woman.
I am.
Okay. So
No.
Yes.
okay. So do men typically want communication from women? Is that what they seek?
They want communication. They want femininity as well, to be honest.
Okay.
And they do want attractiveness, obviously.
Okay.
But you can't be that superficial for one date, yes, maybe two, but then the third date
So
you
men
need to.
do want communication.
Yeah.
Okay. So the average woman brings communication. What else?
Well, I don't know about the average women, but good women that get good husbands.
Okay. Keep going. What else?
Good women that get good
what
husbands.
Else? What else?
They also want they want someone that looks good. They want someone that is their level, to be honest.
Okay. So they want to. So they bring looks and communication. What else?
Care, femininity, whatever that includes.
Are women feminine in 2023?
Not really. There's a lot of alphas out there.
Okay. So
but you kind of have to be. Because it's a doggy dog world.
So maybe.
So they kind of have to be. There's not a whole lot of women in femininity. Like, again, I'm showing this to y'all, man, because these are real conversations. Everybody's talking about it. So many people are talking about it. Like, this is real conversation, right? Like, so this is kind of more so what Pearly Things kind of does. If you have ever heard of her, man, she definitely is more so seemingly on the red pill side of things. Am I too sure, confident of that? Not really. I don't really catch a whole lot of her content. It does show up though. And she's confronting a lot of women in today's generation, modern day women and those kinds of things. She really, from what I've heard, I'm real careful to say what I've heard, but there are a lot of things that I've witnessed where she gives a lot of statistics. There's not a whole lot of seemingly experience on her end in terms of the relationship game. But the statistics can be helpful. Okay. And at least not acknowledging that. So, let's just keep watching. Let's see where this at.
What?
There are a lot of fake alphas out there, including men.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so women bring femininity
sometimes.
Okay, what else do women bring?
Well, they can bring status, depending what they do as well.
Do men care about status?
I don't know. I think some do. My ex actually did.
Okay, does the average man care about status?
I don't know about average men. I've only dated quite,
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Above
I mean,
average.
yeah.
So that actually to me, is definitely telling. So again, she continues to come back to the average man, and she's like, well, I can't speak for the average man. I can only speak from the people that I've actually dated. So there's definitely a difference in between the two, because she's definitely going to hit you with some stats. But again, statistics are helpful, right? So let's listen to this.
Does the man women typically want to care about status?
No, because he'll probably bring her up if you're going to go average. But I do think that if you are a certain level of guy, then you want something more than just a pretty girl on the arm.
Okay. So
That's
the
my
average
theory.
woman brings communication.
No, not the average women.
Okay.
The slightly above average
Okay, the
women.
slightly above average woman brings communication, femininity,
They should.
and looks.
They should.
Okay, so she's all over the
It's like
place.
women, you don't like the answer that we would have to give. It's like, let me answer how I want to answer.
Okay, so ask the question one more time. I'll give you a
What
straight
does
answer.
the average woman bring to the table in 2023?
So the average woman, it depends. Usually, I guess.
No, remember that's a banned word.
Yes, it's banned. Okay, so the average woman, I guess, is everyone that is on social media. So they bring looks. How about that? As simple as that.
Anything else?
I mean, I'm sure there are, but if you're going on a date and you don't know the person, how do you know? You get to know.
Okay. Okay. What does the average woman bring? In
Yes, we're talking
2023?
about average. Average means already that it doesn't bring much, right? And women are being forced to bring to the table things that I think for men is not very useful anymore. So we're being forced. Like if you talk to most of girls here, they have like really good jobs working for governments, high education, and that's not what men need. Like in a relationship, like sex, if you put on the top, for men is number one, right? And unfortunately,
So again, and I want y'all to keep in mind too. So a lot of these perspectives that are thrown out here, right, is basically saying, hey, women don't need, like, there's a lot of attitudes and perspectives coming out. They're like, yo, women don't need men no more, right? Women don't need men no more. They got the education, they're getting the money, they're independent, right? The femininity is decreasing, right? So like, what they need a man for, right? And so it's kind of like, again, just this war, it seems like, that's happening culturally. And it doesn't represent all women. It does represent some women, not all women though, right? And that's kind of one of the biggest things that I've addressed this with. Because they're really interesting with these words: average woman, this type of woman, that type of woman. But it's not all women, right? But she's going on, hey, listen, they got high degrees, high education, they work for the government, they got all the money, or not all the money, but they're getting better money, right? Getting paid really good. So women don't need men. Again, is as far as I'm understanding what she's saying here.
The other things affect women in this way and things like this.
Why were
So
women forced to get jobs? You don't think it was a choice?
Pardon?
Women were forced to get jobs? It
I
wasn't
think
a choice?
nowadays he has a very big pressure,
Okay.
a really big pressure
Mhm.
for,
you don't
for
wanna be
women to be very
Oh.
well educated and have a job. Of course, if you live in London, if you don't work, if you don't make money, the city's gonna swallow
Right.
you.
Do men typically want to marry young women?
Yes, of course.
So what was stopping us from getting married at 21?
Yeah,
Finding the right
that's
man.
a really good
We
question.
wanted to be more. We wanted to be independent, and this is the problem
Well,
nowadays.
Yeah, but hold on. I'm going to get to you, but I'm going to let her answer.
Yeah, for me, at least, I wanted to do more things.
Right.
It was my personal choice, right?
Mhm.
So that's one of the main reasons why not.
Correct. But I'm saying like that it was still a choice. We weren't forced.
Yeah, of course.
A man of value, like maybe didn't propose. Maybe it wasn't the right man, like that proposed.
Why
or
would
maybe no one
why
proposed.
would a man not propose?
I don't know, because you're too young, maybe, or it's not, or you don't bring
Could
to
it-
like you're saying the young people, right?
Uh-huh.
In London, it doesn't really like I don't know that many people that got married. They've had long relationships, but
Right.
they don't get married in their like 20s. They just don't.
Right. But I'm saying why would a man not propose?
Probably because economically he wants to be of a certain stature.
Okay, why couldn't she get a guy that is high that makes a lot of money?
Well, it
I
depends
think
on
at
the
21 you
girl.
don't have the maturity enough to handle a house nowadays. You know,
But
for example,
before
if
they
you look
had,
for
my mom
Right,
had
right,
at
right.
21.
grandmother, my mom the same. But nowadays, like I'm a teacher as well, right? I
Right.
see the girls, you know, even if I talk to many friends of mine there. So now in the past years, things have been happening
Right.
that people are not, and that's what's gonna happen. If you're married, it means in a while you're gonna have kids.
Well, maybe
These
but
people
maybe,
are
No.
gonna
but I'm
That's wrong.
no, but mostly we're talking generally, you're gonna have kids, right? If you get married, right? So the thing is, nowadays people are being brainwashed, people are not getting mature, they're not taking responsibility. What is the most important? People are not able to take responsibilities. If you get married young nowadays with the brain that they are having, they're not gonna be able to raise kids properly, and that's gonna fuck up the
Right,
kid,
right.
right? That's why I see in schools
do
happening.
you think it's harder for women to change the older they are or the younger they are?
I think for every human being, it's harder the older you get, and that's
Okay,
proved
okay.
scientifically.
Okay, so wouldn't it make more sense to get married younger rather than older so you can you can grow together with the man?
So it depends. How the younger you get, usually the rate of divorces are higher. So it's not about the age, it's about maturity, because you can find people 40, 30, 50 years old, they're not mature. And I've seen people getting married in a young age. So there's the wrong question, first of all. It's a matter of maturity.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's what men want, maturity?
Of course, if a wise man wants maturity, otherwise what happens with men?
So what does the average woman bring in 2023?
As I said, average means already that it doesn't bring much.
Okay, so she doesn't bring much.
Can I-
Average people don't bring much to the table, either men or women. Average
Can
is
I-
already says.
I would argue that the average man does bring more to the table in terms of like society. Like 40, half of men have infrastructure jobs. It means 1 out of every 2 men you meet is
Yeah,
running.
but
the
you mean bring to the
infrastructure.
table to society or to their relationship?
Well, I'm saying a lot of times average women think they're better than average men.
in
so-
society, what they bring to
Well,
society?
That's also another point that they try to make too a lot too. Average men, average women, that kind of thing. If I were invited to be on that platform, would I join? Man, if I was invited, I don't know. Jacoby. That's a great question, man. I don't know.
relationship.
I would argue that the average man brings more than the average woman to a relationship because the average man makes more than the average woman, but the average woman is fatter than the average man.
And she's only having requests. The average
Sorry.
woman, she will have lots of requests.
What
She will have lots of requests.
if she's the average woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
She will request, but she will not give
And-
what she's requesting.
And also, part of what social media has done to our society
She will
is
request,
back
but
in the day,
not
before
give.
social media, it would be usually very hard for a woman to even date outside of her social class.
Back in the days, there was
Because she was not
going
Hold on,
without the husband.
Hold on. The point is, these days, a lot of women think they are more valuable than they actually are. And I'm not saying that to be a diss. In terms of a woman will sleep with like maybe a celebrity that went in a DM, and automatically in her head, she thinks that she can only get married to someone on that level.
That's true.
That is what messes up a lot of women. The reality is, most of those guys just look at those women as, okay, well, this is better than my hand. But then the woman goes after that, and then she thinks, okay, well, I slept with LeBron James, so now I can only get married to a basketballer. Meanwhile, she would actually be more equally yoked to get married to like a plumber. But most women will see themselves as above being married to a plumber. That's the problem with society.
Because they are
Okay, so I don't know if y'all heard that. So he's saying the problem in society is that average women think that they're better than average men. And on top of that, they believe that they can only marry on a status that they basically elevated to or find themselves on. He made the example of if she had sex with LeBron James or an NBA player, then she feels that's the only person that's the only type of people that she can deal with now. Right. So and in actuality, he's saying that she's actually yoked to a plumber. But it's the titles, it's the name, it's the status. He's kind of getting at those things. Again, it is so, and this is kind of where I come from, y'all. Again, I know this ain't really that stream. Again, we're gonna close in a minute, but this is my problem with this kind of stuff here is that we are so quick to generalize all women. And all women don't think like that. All women don't move like that. all women are not moving at a pace where they're thinking they're better than the other men or people around them. Like I don't think that that is a fair representation, and it is such a disservice, okay, to people who are actually out here saying, "Yo, I'm willing and available. I'm a believer. I follow Jesus. I got my own work. I got this, that, and the third, and I'm ready to mingle and settle down." And this is again what sparks the fear. We're so quick to throw out these statistics and we don't tell it all. So my worry is, man, there's not enough room in some of these spaces. And I'm not saying that's what Pearly Things is doing because I don't watch enough of her content. But just from this interview, she is really quick to zero in on the statistics. And some of them are like, yo, I want to talk about my experience though. Because my experience is no, the men that I've been around don't care about status, or the men that I was around did care about status, as she said. So I just think that that's something to keep in mind. She talks a lot about average, but it's very generalized to a specific thing that she talks about and can sound very biased. Yes. And again, I'm not saying that that's not something to talk about. There's room at the table to talk about that. But we can't just say that and not talk about the nuances of everything else that actually makes room in for the conversation and can make sense. Right? So I just feel like, man, these types of conversations that are getting so much views and looked at, bro, it's such a disservice. I'm gonna be honest, it's such a disservice, and it sucks, man, because there's a lot of people who are moving from a place of paranoia, hearing stuff like this. If this is the case, if singleness and dating is just that tough, is just that rough, the average woman, average man, this, that, and the third, how do we navigate? This is how we close. Literally, y'all, by simply sticking to doing things the way God sees fit. That's it. That's it. I don't have to acclimate, man, to what is out here in order to get what I'm looking for. The statistic that I wanted y'all to hear that I was hoping was there, it was referred to me or it showed to me or shared with me that Pearly Things shared that one of 3 women today, one of every 3 women have either had a baby deletion, they've had 10 or more partners, or have an STD. One of 3. One of 3. That's a pretty high number, right? And that's not to spook you or scare you. It's, I guess, what we can look at that and say it's legit. It's a reality. We can acknowledge that. What do we do about it? Well, we don't acclimate to the times. We don't match that energy. We don't go out there and do the same thing, right? We don't find ourselves in the same spaces, in the same directions. What we do about it is we make the decision to say, yo, regardless of what y'all do, I'm going to navigate my life and set my temperature in the right character to be the right man that I need to be, and to be willing to focus on these pillars of my relationship with my creator, calling, and capacity in order to make the most out of the relationships I create now, the marriage I want in the future, the family I want to build, and remain in assignment and purpose, because that is all that's going to matter. Y'all, we have to move with an eternal perspective on these things. We can look at stats all day and be spooked by them, be shook by them, and be confused by them, be shocked by them. Yes, 1000%. But if I'm choosing to move with an eternal perspective, I know that not only this is not going to be my always, but as a result of knowing that, a lot of these things that we're diving into momentarily and for the moment, bro, that's going to be here and be gone within some years or whatever the case is, bro, like it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And I shouldn't dive headfirst into this and be willing to put myself in a position to where I am programming my body to respond a certain way and thinking I'm going to get in the marriage and all of it's going to go away. If you want marriage, if you want family, if you want to build a family, if you want long-term marital commitment, if that is you, please hear me. Your singleness is not for exploring your sexuality. Your singleness is for you to learn abstinence, self-control, and for you to be prepared for the marriage that you want. That's what it is. And in the process, creating the capacity you need to not just say you're married, but to actually live out a married life And to be able to say that not only you got married, but you remained married, you stayed married, and you were able to build a lifelong commitment with one person. If you've already put yourself in a position where you're like, bro, but I've already been promiscuous, I've already done all these kind of things, so what, it's up for me? Absolutely not. Like we've been saying throughout this whole stream, it's not. It's not up for you. Just because that is where it's at doesn't mean that's where it has to keep going. We can put a stop and an end to that this moment and say, you know what, I'm gonna make a decision to honor myself, to honor God, to honor my future spouse, and remaining celibate. And I'm going to actually start stepping into these dating scenes the right way and doing it the right way. And making sure that when I step into my marriage, that I'm prepared in the right areas, I'm healed in the right areas to be able to maximize it. This clip is from one of my recent YouTube live streams. You can come over and check out when we go live, typically once a week. Find your boy, subscribe, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss when we're going live and all that we've got going on over on this channel. All right, peace.